Today we need to get into a soldier posting about Jung Kook and what he wrote in his post. We also have people asking Jung Kook to leave the military to do a specific challenge and what that is about. And then we have fans being scared that Jung Kook might be in danger and other people might be attacking him. So hey Dumplings, it's Dave. Decide hater or not, make sure you're subscribed with the notification bell on and make sure you join us fangirling on Patreon, and let's go. We need to get into this whole thing that has been trending online a lot. And I've seen it being posted constantly, and it seems like every time I go onto my Twitter feed, it's like one of the first things that pop up. And I think the more I look into it, the more it's going to pop up first. But it's very interesting because there is a petition that is going on about this, and the petition really doesn't have that many signatures on it, but it seems to be something that people keep constantly tweeting, and every time I look, it's tweeted from an hour ago or so. So it seems like it keeps getting refreshed to the top because people are posting about it. So what is it and what's going on? Well, apparently there is this Japanese stalker that has been around. Now, I don't really want to post necessarily this petition or where to find it because I don't know the legitimacy of it. And I tend to doubt the legitimacy of these petitions and things like that just because I've seen so many petitions written about people within the K-pop community that are just not accurate. I've seen people say things that are so wild and outlandish and out there that it makes no sense why there's even a petition about this person and it's written and it's there. And so I tend to not believe these petitions 100%. Now, this petition alleges that there was a stalker in Japan that repeatedly throughout many years followed Jung Kook and the BTS members through various different events, stalked them, and even invaded their personal space. Now, this could be true. We've seen this before, and things like this do happen. So this idea of a stalker and a petition and all that stuff, it's possible. However, I think this is really interesting because the way these things are written tends to be in a way that makes me feel like it's not true. And I don't want to bash the person who wrote this because I don't know what their intentions are and all that stuff. But I like to say that if you're going to write something and it's going to be something that is important to you, then at least make arguments that are good. Because if what is written in this petition is to be a persuasive essay or something, it would not really get a good grade, I don't think. And again, I don't mean any harm or anything bad. I just mean that I just don't think it's entirely well written. Now, the actual part where these claims of whether or not this stalker has actually invaded personal space or whatever it was, these claims are not backed up by anything that's tangible. Are there videos that are being shown of this happening? Are there links that are directing anyone who's reading the petition to go and watch and see it actually happen? Are there specific photos that are available where we can see this stalker and this person? I mean, if we're gonna go all out to even make a petition about this alleged stalker, then why not also just show their face, just plaster their face all over the petition? And the reason I feel why they don't do that and they don't put it in the petition is because that would be illegal, because they know that this person may or may not actually be a stalker, and if it's not a stalker, that person that they're putting the face all over the petition would be able to take legal action on the person who made the petition. But also, I think this is the most important. If the petition was created to bring awareness to the label, because the label has no idea, hence why the petition is even necessary in some people's minds, is because this is an attempt to educate the label on what's going on. You can't make a petition without showing the face, because how was the label going to know who this person is? But anyway, that is my opinion and that is my thoughts on the petition. I think it's interesting because a lot of these petitions and a lot of these people who I do talk about sometimes, they tend to send me an email, and I don't usually read it, but it tends to be people who have already seen my videos and thus have sent hate to me before. And so I find this the most interesting, that people who tend to cause the most noise in the community and bad noise in the community sometimes tends to be the same people that send everyone hate and can't take constructive criticism. Now, this particular petition is not the petition that I am talking about. I actually don't have any idea who this person is who wrote the petition of this Japanese stalker, but I'm talking about other ones. And I think every time I see a petition, it triggers me because I know it's from a specific group of people that just causes a lot of annoying noise in the fandom. Of course, there's a lot of cute things that happen as well, and I love watching what the community puts together. On a more positive note, there's been an uptick of people praying and tweeting out that they wished for Jung Kook to just leave the military so that he can do a little bit of a dance challenge. If you're not aware, before he left to go to the military, he was posting on TikTok some of the dance challenges that were happening, and he mostly did dance challenges from people that he knew or people within K-pop. To me, I don't think he was doing more Western music dance challenges, but of course there's been a few more dance challenges since then, and people wish that Jung Kook would come out of the military to do them. And Jung Kook is really the best at doing the female dance challenges. there was a specific dance challenge from TXT, and people were very excited to see Jung Kook do this. He obviously would absolutely kill it, but of course it's such a fun and cute idea to see a senior doing more of his junior dance choreographies. And I think a lot of people also want to see that because they innately want to see how a BTS member would do it better than another group. And I think that that is kind of the thrill and the fun of it, that sometimes they can then compare and say, well, my favorite idol did this dance move better than your favorite, and proof that my favorite is better. Because look at how well my favorite does the same dance. But I'm sure those people are far and few in between. I think most of us just want to see a cool dance move done by him, and just like when we want to see a singer cover a song, it's just for the sake of wanting to see that song being sung in the style of our favorite singer. But of course, it's important to note that a lot of these things do happen where people like to compare, and it's something that is being used in an argument. There was also a recent post that came out from the military that was causing a lot of ruckus, and people were freaking out about this a lot. So I think I see these posts sometimes on Twitter, and I think they originate from Twitter. But it's very interesting because these posts don't really have any backing to it. I don't think, I really can't find any specific proof as to where it comes from. So I often feel like I can probably just create a Twitter account myself, make it all in Korean, put my location in Korea, tweet a few things about being in the military, and then suddenly just tweet about meeting so-and-so member in the military, and then it'll go viral because people will think that I'm actually in the military with that member. Or even just take over a Korean account and then just change it and say that I'm in the military or something. I just don't think it's hard to make it appear like I'm in the military and that I've met the BTS members. Of course, as always, these things could be true, and I'm just very skeptical, but that's my opinion. Of course, recently there was a post that talked about Jin, it talked about Jimin, and then talked about Jung Kook, and there was a soldier say how they felt about each of the members. Now, if this is real, of course, we want to take everything that's being said as real because it's nothing that's bad. So it could be real, and it's nice to believe those things as well. And they were saying that all of the drill assistants and drill sergeants never addressed this particular soldier with more honorifics. They would address the soldier very informally. And then Jin would address everyone very formally. I believe that Jin would address everyone formally, but on the other hand, I don't believe that other drill sergeants wouldn't, because why wouldn't they? However, this is what was said, that Jin is very polite and nice. They went on to say that Jimin was also very nice and friendly, and then went on to say that Jung Kook was someone who was nice but had a big nose. Now, some people in the community took this in a different way, and in a way that I didn't take it when I first saw it, but there's a lot of people in the community that would make up stories just to further push their own narrative. And if you've been on this channel for a while, you'll know that to be true. There's a lot of people who would kind of make up a story just to further push this idea that two members are dating. And yes, I've seen some of them literally go as far as to manufacture a whole account and to take on this whole new persona and create this whole other world just to further push their narrative, just so that they can go back into the community and win their own argument and say that my belief of so-and-so dating is real and yours isn't. So people were saying that by coming up with this story, it will then serve as little evidence to prove that Jung Kook and Jimin spend a lot of time together and that they are dating in the military. And of course, this could be a real thing that people are doing. And on the other hand, it could be something that actually did happen, and then it was just reported by a soldier. So we'll never know whether it's a real thing or not. But I guess my point that I'm trying to make here is that when you read these things and when you see these things, especially within the K-pop community, it's okay to question whether it's real or not and what the intentions of the post that you're seeing is. And I think that because, as we can see, things that have very little evidence, that is just things that are being said, can go viral. This post of this soldier talking about the members went viral, and there's no proof as to whether this person is actually in the military or not. Let me know what you think. Make sure you check out Patreon for more videos. Link down below. Thank you so much for the comments right here. Love you. Bye.